Step aside, Pandaren. You confront a force beyond reckoning.
Your father dabbled in powers beyond reckoning. Where is he now?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the top 10 most important warriors in World of Warcraft. I am of course your host Bencraft from Croft Gaming, and today we're going to look at the most important warriors throughout World of Warcraft's history. Warriors are melee fighters, highly trained in the arts of weaponry. They are strong and quick on the battlefield, and has meant a great deal to the story and history of World of Warcraft. And in this countdown we're going to show you the most important ones. We will be, of course, using the World of Warcraft Wikipedia page as a reference, and you can find it down below in the description. If you haven't checked out our last top 10 most important mages in World of Warcraft video, please also check that episode out after this video. But without further ado, let's get to the countdown. Number 10.
No alliance hand has ever struck me down.
At number 10, we have General Nazgrim. In life, Nazgrim was one of the greatest generals of the Horde, but in death, however, he is one powerful champion of the Ebon Blade. Let's tell you why. Because Nazgrim was first appeared as a quest giver in the Grizzly Hills as a sergeant for the Horde, but after the Lich King's defeat and during the Cataclysm expansion, he was promoted to Legionnaire and sent to the region of Vajir. After escaping from the Naga there, he was promoted to general and sent to Pandaria. Nazgrim makes camp in Jade Forest and makes allies with the local race known as the Forest Hosen. This eventually leads to a battle between the Horde and the Alliance in the Jade Forest, continuing the campaign on Pandaria. As the expansion went on, Nazgrim held his oath to the warships of the Horde and remained loyal to Garrosh Hellscream during Darkspear Rebellion, and then he was eventually murdered during the Siege of Orgrimmar. Among the players who killed him was none other than the famous Thorin Gammon, which takes the final blow. Nazgrim did not take his death personally and gladly passed on the torch to Gammon, and he encouraged them to lead the Horde into a new era of prosperity. During the Burning Legion's third invasion of Azeroth, however, during the expansion Legion, Nazgrim is raised by the Death Knight players as an undeath of the new Four Horsemen, now serving the Death Lord and the new Lich King. Number 9.
You're kinda slow for a human, aren't you?
Muradin Bronzebeard holds our number 9 spot. Muradin Bronzebeard is the Thane of the Bronzebeard clan and the younger brother of the Dwarven king Magni Bronzebeard, and the older brother of the renowned explorer Bran Bronzebeard. He was a hero of the Alliance from the Second War and later served as an ambassador to the Lord Ron, where he befriended the young prince Arthas Menethil and trained him in combat. Muradin was believed to have perished in Northrend when Arthas claimed the Runeblade Frostmourne. However, during the war against the Lich King in Wrath of the Lich King expansion, it was revealed that Muradin survived his brush with death and wandered the wastes of Northrend with no memory of the incident. He was eventually found by the Frostborn, a race of frost dwarves native to Storm Peaks, and made leader of their clan under the name Jorg Stormheart. Rediscovered by his brothers years later, Muradin joined the Alliance and commanded his forces during the siege of Iceground Citadel. Following the petrification of his elder brother Magni during the Shattering in Cataclysm, Muradin returned to Ironforge to lead his clan in the Council of the Three Hammers, and still rules there to this day. And in Battle of Azeroth, Muradin is a potential leader in the Battle of Stormguard and helps the Alliance retake Aradi Highlands. Number 8.
Behold my mighty invention!
Gelbin Mekkatorque is the number 8 most important warrior on this list. He is the current High Tinker of Gnomeregan and the leader of the Gnomes. Gelbin has been at the helm of the Gnome race during some of its most difficult and trying times. Since his title is an elected one, and the fact that he has held his position throughout such hardship is a testament to the love of his people. A brilliant inventor like Gelbin Mekkatorque rose quickly to prominence among the meritocratic gnomes with his innovative designs and creative problem-solving skills. He built the very first functioning Mechanostrider, assisted in the development of the Dwarven siege engine, and was instrumental in the creation of the Deeper tram, running from Ironforge to Stormwind City. Although one wouldn't know it from looking at him, the loss of Novigrad weighs heavily on the High Thinker. He was unprepared for the invasion that swept through his beloved city, and he was betrayed by a trusted advisor who convinced him to react hastily, resulting in unnecessary deaths. Now Mekkatorque's brilliant mind has taken on a surgical focus with one single outcome, the retaking of Novigrad. He's later seen helping the Alliance in the siege of Orgrimmar, and on the Battle of the Broken Shore during Legion, most lately in the battle for Azeroth expansion, Gelbin fights in the battle for Lordaeron, and in the assault on the Tsar Allure raid. And the story of Gelbin Mekkatorque is still to continue.
Number 7.
They took your father, betrayed your king, and you did nothing.
At number 7 we have none other than Daelin Proudmoore. He was a Lord Admiral and the ruler of Giltiris, and a Grand Admiral of the Alliance. He was a supreme commander of the naval forces of the Alliance during the Second War, and he was a staunch enemy of the Horde, refusing to believe that it could ever change its ways. He greatly hated the orcs and would have been more than willing to see them all dead. Eventually, consumed by his own hatred and devoted to the vengeance to the new Horde forces led by Rexxar, he was left with no choice but to kill him during the Orc campaign in Warcraft 3. His grave is now found in the newest World of Warcraft expansion Battle of Azeroth at the Lord Admiral's Rest in Borealis. He also shows up in multiple times as we follow his daughter, the famous mage Genn Proudmoore, and the stories of him when we quest in Kultivis.
Number 6.
Our world needs us, champion. Azeroth cries out in pain.
Magni Bronzebeard holds our number 6 spot. He is the former king of the Dwarven kingdom of Khazad-Mudan, Thane of Ironforge, and head of the Bronzebeard clan. During the Second War, he defended Ironforge from the orcs and joined the alliance of Lordaeron. He was a founding member of the Explorers League, led by his brother Bran, and forged the Ashbringer, hoping it would avenge his brother Muradin, who was believed to have been killed by Arthas Menethil. Magni was turned to diamond during a ritual in the heart of old Ironforge, sacrificing himself to save Khazad-Mudan from the cataclysm. He was succeeded by the Council of Three Hammers, but after years spent immobilized in old Ironforge, Magni has returned as the Speaker, the ritual having attuned him to the Titan world soul of Azeroth itself, and now works with the world's heroes to combat the return of the Burning Legion. In Legion, you return to Ulduar with Khadgar and Magni to find out the truth about Azeroth, and later on the campaign on Argus, Magni joins the Army of the Light and transports heroes of Azeroth to the seat of the Pantheon during the assault on Antorus. After Sargeras stabs Azeroth, Magni now tries to heal and mend Azeroth from the wound in Silithus, by the help by you, the player.
Number 5.
This is wrong. There is no honor in it. Her deeds disgrace us all.
High Chieftain Baine Bloodhoof is number 5 on this list. He is the son of the late Tauren leader Cairn Bloodhoof, whom he looked up to as a role model. While Baine has a formidable skill on the battlefield, his true talents lie in the arena of diplomacy. He is a strong force for moderation, calm wisdom, and unity within the Horde, especially in their dealings with the Alliance. Following Cairn's death in a duel with Warchief Garrosh Hellscream, Baine fled his home in Bloodhoof village when the Tauren matriarch Magatha Green Totem's agents attacked the village and seized Thunderbluff. Although still pained by the loss of his father, Baine staged a counterattack on Magatha and her forces, ultimately retaking the Tauren capital and defeating the treacherous matriarch. Cairn's honorable son spared Magatha's life, banishing the matriarch and their traitorous allies to the harsh Stotalon Mountains. Since then, Baine has assumed the role of High Chieftain of Mulgore's courageous Tauren. While bitterness might still linger over Cairn's demise, Baine had remained loyal to the Horde and its warship for the good of the Tauren race. More recently, he supported the Darkspear Rebellion in ousting the Warchief, and eventually pledged his support to Garrosh's successor, Vol'jin. With the Vol'jin's passing shortly after the disastrous battle for Broken Shore, Baine has remained loyal to Sylvanas Windrunner, and was present when Vol'jin named her the Warchief with his dying breath. In the battle for Azeroth expansion, however, Baine Bloodhoof is not a huge fan of the new Warchief, and in the battle for Lordaeron, Baine is furious at Sylvanas for letting Saurfang die to the Alliance. Later in the expansion, Baine aids the Zandalar in the siege of Zuldasar and wants to negotiate with the Alliance. Sylvanas does not want this and even tries to raise Jaina Proudmoore's brother Derek Proudmoore into undead. This infuriates Baine, and later he liberates Derek Proudmoore back to the Alliance. And then Sylvanas doesn't of course like this, so now he's held captive by Sylvanas as a betrayer of the Horde by her new orders.
Number 4.
My boy died at the Wrathgate. I am here only to collect his body. We named him Dranosh.
At number 4 we have the one and only High Overlord Varok Saurfang, which is the younger brother of Broxigar and a renowned orc warrior of the Blackrock clan. He is a famed veteran of the First, Second and Third Wars, and he served as a Warchief Orgrim Doomhammer's second in command during the Second War, and as the Supreme Commander of the combined might of Kalimdor during the Second War of the Shifting Sands, against the Kiraj is the call of Ankiraj. He later led the Kor'kron against the Scourge in Northrend, where he even lost his son at the Wrathgate, and most memorable retrieved his body after the boss fight in the Icecrown Citadel raid. He later in Mists of Pandaria assisted Thrall during the siege of Orgrimmar, following the tragic battle on the Broken Shore and Sylvanas Windrunner's promotion to Warchief. Saurfang took up the position as the leader of the Orgrimmar Orcs and resides in Grommash Hold. This was of course until the Battle of Azeroth expansion, when he joined up on the burning of Teldrassil, where he started to lose faith in the new Warchief of the Horde. He later joined up during the Battle of Lordaeron and almost killed himself in a suicide attempt before the battle, but is stopped by a young troll. He later gets captured in the battle but escapes from Stormwind and now resides in the Swamp of Sorrows as an outcast of Sylvanas' new home. That was until we got a glimpse of a new cinematic where Varok meets Thrall in Outland to retrieve him, and we later also see him try to rescue Baine Bloodhoof from captivity. And that is the latest we have seen of Varok, and his story is still yet to unfold.
Number 3.
Brothers and sisters of the Alliance, hear me. The Horde's cowardly attack on Teldrassil brought war upon us.
Number 3 goes to Genn Greymane, which is the current king of Gilneas and one of the original founders of the Alliance of Lordaeron. He's a large bearish man, a brawny warrior with thick features, a heavy beard and a black and grey armor. Greymane has also been noted for being stubborn, proud and strong-willed, cunning and very arrogant. During the Second War, Greymane met with other human leaders at the capital city to hear of Stormwind's fall at the hands of the Orcish Horde. Greymane joined the other human leaders in the forming of the Alliance of Lordaeron to counter the Horde threat, but due to his pride, he offered only a token of support. After the conclusion of the Second War, Greymane chafed at using Gilneas taxes to help pay for the Orc internment camps at Nedergaard Keep. Greymane decided that Gilneas could not and would not pay for the wars of other nations, so he withdrew Gilneas from the Alliance, ordered the construction of the Greymane Wall, and isolated Gilneas from the rest of the world. Around the time of the Third War, Greymane instructed Archmage Aragorn, a Dalaran wizard loyal to Gilneas, to summon a feral worgen to protect Gilneas from the Scourge threat. The plan backfired though, and the worgen curse would eventually run rampant among the Gilnean population. In the time between the Third and the war against the Lich King, the number of those afflicted with the worgen curse had grown, and were not attacking others, but were now attacking Gilneas city. To counter the threat, Greymane helped to defend the city and aided in the evacuation of citizens to Duskhaven. In the aftermath, Greymane faced the dual threats of the Cataclysm and the Forsaken invasion, culminating in a battle to retake Gilneas city from the Forsaken, and witnessing the death of his son and heir, Liam, by the arrow of Sylvanas Windrunner. Humbled by his son's death and the devastation of his kingdom, Greymane accepted the aid of the Night Elves, who has offered to relocate the Gilnean survivors to Darnassus. In a fit of stubbornness, Greymane was against formally rejoining the alliance until he had ties with the king Varian Wrynn. Greymane becomes a changed man. Greymane becomes a staunch supporter of the alliance, adding the ferocity of the Gilneans to the considerable might of the alliance, intent on one day reclaiming his lost kingdom. This intention is later realized by the time of the Blood War, as Gilneas is restored enough to go on to an offensive following the battle for Lordaeron. Genn Greymane is later in the Battle of Azeroth a prominent figure in the storyline of World of Warcraft, and kinda works like a new fatherly figure to Anduin Wrynn, after losing his father to the Legion at the Battle for the Broken Shore, of course. Genn Greymane is definitely one of the most important characters and warriors in the World of Warcraft.
Number 2.
Do you remember nothing of honor, of glory on a battlefield? You who would parley with the humans, who allowed warlocks to practice their dark magics right under our feet. You are weak.
Garrosh Hellscream is our number 2 most important warrior on our list. Garrosh Hellscream was a former warchief of the Horde and chosen by Thrall to replace him in the wake of the Cataclysm, until was succeeded by Vol'jin after the siege of Orgrimmar. Throughout the history of Azeroth, few mortals have achieved greater notoriety than him. Garrosh grew up on Draenor in the shadows of his father, the great warrior Garrosh Hellscream, leader of the Warsong clan. Grom was the first orc leader to drink the blood of Mannoroth, subjugating the orcs to the Legion's will. Before this event, Garrosh was among several orcs who had become ill with the Red Pox. They had been quarantined far away in Nagran, allowing them to escape the demonic corruption. The younger Hellscream was ashamed of his father for many years, until he met Thrall during the invasion of Outland and learned of Grom's heroic redemption. Garrosh has since embraced his potential as a strong leader, most notably in the Northrend, where he directed the Horde advance through the Borean tundra and won the hearts of his people. Uncompromising and fiercely proud, Garrosh intended to restore the Orcs' glory by any means necessary. As the renewed Alliance and Horde war developed, Garrosh's thirst for power corrupted him into the point that he did not care about the means used to bring the Orc supremacy on Azeroth, with himself as the world's supreme ruler, of course. Going as far as to unleash the full power of the dead Olga's heart by resurrecting it using the pools of power, effectively destroying half of the sacred Pandaren Vale of Eternal Blossoms. Ultimately, he became the final antagonist of Mist of Pandaria's Alliance Horde War arc. He is ultimately defeated and depowered and then captured by the coalition below Orgrimmar. He was to be trialed in Pandaria as a war criminal, but managed to escape to an alternate Draenor through the efforts of Kairos and Garrosh's own loyalists, aided by the infinite Dragonflight. There he was able to confront Gul'dan and witness his transformation into one of the first Green Orcs, corrupted by the influence of the Fell powers, and slowly changed the course of events leading to the birth of the Iron Horde. In Warlords of Draenor, Garrosh already set things in motion thanks to his connection with the Black Fuse Company who supplied him during the siege of Orgrimmar. He has already supplied the Orcish clans of Draenor with all the technology they required to build their war machines, and he influenced alternate Grommash to unite all Orcish clans under one banner and reject the blood of Mannoroth. Garrosh also managed to give an idea to create a gateway between the alternate timeline and the main one in order to return to exact his vengeance on Azeroth, in form of the Iron Horde's dark portal within Tanaan Jungle, using the leaders of the Shadow Council as a portal's power source, and then sent the Iron Horde in order to conquer the world, as well as entrusted Warlord Zela to arm the Iron Star within Blackrock Mountain, in order to annihilate Storming City. He could later be found at the Warlords of the Warsong clan in Nagran, where he was eventually defeated and killed by Thrall in a Mak'gora. Garrosh's story is a tragic one, but has a great value to the story of World of Warcraft, and is one of the most important warriors in the history of World of Warcraft. Before we go to the number 1 spot, we would like to mention some honorable mentions which did not make it to the list. Because we wanted to fit so many possible inside, we decided to go for these 10 represented in this video, because we thought they were the most important for the World of Warcraft lore. But some honorable mentions are like Broxigar the Red, Garrosh Saurfang, Orgrin Doomhammer, Blackhand, Shadowsong, Sir Anduin Lothar, and Durotan. There are more honorable warriors which you can find on the World of Warcraft Wikipedia page, but now let's get to our number 1 spot.
Number 1.
Son, we're fighting a different war now. This isn't about hatred of the Horde. This is about a love of what's right, about doing what needs to be done. I may not be a politician, but I am a fighter. I know we can win this war. I used to think leadership was all about strength. I see things more clearly now. It's a little bit of give, a little bit of take. It's about binding people together. A bundle of sticks is not easily broken. Son, we need to stand together. If we act as one, we cannot fail.
Number 1 and the most important warrior in World of Warcraft is no other than King Varian Wrynn. Varian Wrynn was the King of Stormwind and the High King of the Grand Alliance. During the First War, when Varian was a young boy, his father, King Lane, was murdered and Stormwind was sacked by the Orcish Horde. His guardian and regent, Anduin Lothar, gathered the survivors and sailed to Lordaeron, where the Alliance of Lordaeron was formed. The Alliance defeated the Horde in the Second War and Stormwind was reclaimed, though at the cost of Lothar's life. Varian was crowned King of Stormwind and stood by King Terenas of Lordaeron as the Alliance began to fracture, but soon faced many internal problems. He was unable to reach a settlement between the stonemasons who rebuilt Stormwind and the House of Nobles, which led to a riot in which his wife Queen Tiffin was murdered. While on a diplomatic mission to Theramore, Varian was abducted by the Defias Brotherhood, formerly the Stonemasons, and went missing. He had managed to escape from the Defias but was suffering from memory loss, and soon after enslaved by the Horde and became a gladiator in the Crimson Ring, where he teamed up with Brol Bearmantle and Valera Sanguinar. The trio won the Crimson Ring tournament in the Dire Maul, for which Varian was given the Torah moniker Logosh, meaning Ghost Wolf. After escaping his slavers, Varian discovered he was the missing King of Stormwind and that his advisor, Lady Katrana Prestor, was revealed to be the Black Dragonflight broodmother Onyxia in disguise, who had manipulated the Defias and the nobles' dispute and stood behind Varian's kidnapping, and created a duplicate of him using dark magic. With the help of his comrades, he was able to recover his true identity and finally defeat Onyxia. Under his daring leadership, the humans of Stormwind led the Alliance to victory against the Lich King in Northrend after the death of High Lord Bolvar Fordragon, and Alliance forces at the Wrathgate, of course. Varian declared war on the Horde and sought to bolster their strategic holdings against their perennial enemy. Known for his tenacity and fierce plays within the world, the plunge into chaos by the Great Cataclysm, he earned the respect of the Night Elves, Dwarves and other Alliance races and took up military leadership of the Alliance as a High King, vowing to forge a new destiny for Azeroth. The war with the Horde was finally brought to an end following the victory in the Siege of Orgrimmar. Leading the Alliance armies against the Burning Legion at the Broken Shore, Varian fell in a battle at the gates of the Tomb of Sargeras, sacrificing himself to allow the Alliance forces to escape. Before staying behind to fight, Varian entrusted Genn Greymane with a letter to his son Anduin, advising that one must be willing to fight in order to preserve peace. In the aftermath of the battle, he was succeeded by his son Anduin as King of Stormwind and the High King of the Alliance. And he is the most prominent figure for the Alliance and the most important warrior in World of Warcraft. That was our list. Did you like it or did you not like it? Did you disagree with us? Do you agree with us? Please leave a comment down below in the description and we will take a look at it. It was really fun making this because I get to read a lot of exciting and thrilling lore about many important characters in World of Warcraft, and I actually hope you learned something as well about the game. So if you want more videos like this, we got one more video, one top 10 most important mages, which you can take a look at our channel. But if you want more, give us a thumbs up, comment down below, and we will see what we can do. So anyways, thank you so much for watching, subscribe if you want, and until later, my name is Bencraft of Croft Gaming, and until next time.